Hello and welcome. I'm Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well today. All right, we have an interesting case ahead of us, and it is a true crime event, and subject matter might offend some sensitive viewers. All cases are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. All right, so I'm going to be looking at the William Tyrell case. And of course, a lot of my new Australian viewers were shouting out, let's look at William. So thank you for that. The context is, for those that don't know the case, William supposedly disappeared So William had supposedly disappeared on September the 12th. And it's on the bottom left. I highlighted the date there on the top, September 12, 2014. Now, it's alleged, according to his foster mom, that someone must have taken him while he was playing outside on that day. So let me just give you context when I started looking at this case, because I think it's very relevant. The energy around this case, in fact, let me rather say the energies around this case is quite intense. And that is the first thing that caught my attention when I started putting his date of birth down, putting out the days, sorting out the slides. There is, and I've realized what it is now. Well, I've come to the realization based on what I was seeing in the numbers. And I will draw your attention to September the 14th, the far right block on the right, September 14, 2014. We have the 9, 14, 5, and the 7. We have the 14, 5 again. 9 is technically the universal number where you can multiply and it will always be the same. And the 7, so we have a 33, we have a 12, 3, and a solid 3. Now, regarding the energies going around this case, and as far as my knowledge on the case was, I got the missing date, and I got a couple of pictures. I avoided the news at that point. However, when I'd done my initial review on the case, and this pertains to the energies around this case, I felt I needed to watch or know a little bit more about this case, because there's some really odd things going on here. There's a lot of deceit, is what it is. Deceit and deception going on around this case. And when I watched the only video I watched, I ended up watching a 60-minute Australia video on the William Tyrell case. And just thinking about it now, the mom there still gives me the heebie-jeebies. So what solved it for me in September the 14th, we have a double 14-5. And this is the energy that I'm feeling here still. Even there's duplicity, deceit, underhandedness, lies, and let me repeat that, lots of lies around this case. And I believe the story as we know it, and I wrote it on the bottom part of the paragraph on top there, what we know about what happened to William is all lies. What was said about what happened that day is a lie. And it's almost like a lie upon a lie. If anyone, okay, let me not be too harsh, but let me just say, because the only consideration I have in the case is we have a young boy of 3 years old that is deceased, unfortunately. So sensitivities around anything else, we'll say alleged, as we say in the top of the show. But I can tell you the first, so we've cleared up this energy about the 14 fives. I just want to be clear on that, because for a long time, and I'll give you more or less, let's just say for several hours, I was trying to figure this case out. And the reason why I kept on struggling and getting taken that way, this way, it's so chaotic. And the simple answer is the case is shrouded in lies and deception. Now, the first realization I had on this case before I looked at the video was that and I'll read it up from the top, strong presence of a woman from beginning to end of this event, right? Which is marked with the 12, 3, and the 3. 3 generally indicates feminine energy. We note September the 12th is a 12-3 in doubles. So a lot of feminine energy on that day, very strong feminine energy. The September the 14th, the outcome of the day is also a 12-3 as well as a 33. So the reflection is also showing me that one, yes, there was an outburst by a woman. Now, it could have been in a fit of rage or just a moment of something. But the conclusion that I have, so I came up with the conclusion first before I found out, or still trying to figure out actually what actually happened here, because there's so many lies here. But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the strong presence of a woman from beginning to end of the event sits with the foster mother. And I continue to say who was involved and may have been the reason for his so-called disappearance. So I actually came to the conclusion of the case, and of course, we must obviously find evidence in numerology supported by any images or impressions that I might get. Now, here's the next little twist in the story, because I believe what we know as the story is not the story. And of course, it almost feels like I need to delete what I ever know about this case, except for one thing. In fact, two that I've mentioned now. Lies and deception, and the person at the heart of the matter is a woman. Those are two facts I will live with the rest of my life. That is guaranteed. Now, for me, September the 12th, there's so much things going on around here. So let me just say, September the 13th, I mean, to have a double 13-4 is not good at all. And I believe, now, I would just say, oh yes, okay, I've just been reminded. This case, and we're going to go deeper, we're definitely going to go deeper, but I want you to think about something for a minute. And this is not by any means me trying to sway decision. I will show you what I found in the days. But there was another case that was pinging on me when I was looking at this case. The case of Madeleine McCann. Now, I have done a show on this, and I'll put a marker at the top, so try and watch it after the show, or I'll link it at the end of the show as well and in the description box, because I have this issue. Don't click on another video while you're watching a video. So I'll put it in the description and I'll put it at the end. But Madeleine McCann's case, in my opinion, same situation. Mom has a fit of whatever. We're all human, and raising kids is not easy, whatever the situation is. Dealing with a 3-year-old, and I believe the sister was 4 years old. It just takes the wrong moment and the wrong timing or whatever. And unfortunately, something did go wrong, of course. Now, getting back to this young man here, 3 years old. All right. Now, let's continue. September the 12th. September the 12th. There's a sequence of numbers that alerted me that this was an inside situation. Now, of course, these are clues and confirmations on the overall picture, the 28-10-1. And I believe I wrote it on the top there. There is communication or an argument, and communication's been nice. So if we're looking at 28-10-1, the 8 is the communication. But because it's a 2-8-10-1, I would lean on the side of argument up to screaming even about the situation after the event. Okay? For me, the 28-10-1 tells me there's an argument between a couple inside the home about the situation. Now, you can imagine the foster parents, and of course, they have the luxury of remaining anonymous, as far as I could tell. And I believe this is the point where the husband that evening, or let's say that evening by sunset onwards, sunset to midnight, there's this argument and the realization what had happened. Now, and of course, having that double 12-3 tells me they had to take control of the situation, 21-3. Now, if you've watched my previous videos, that 21-3 is a nasty video. I mean, the 21-3 is a nasty number in the context of a crime. Now, of course, a decision has to be made about the situation. 10-1, they have to care about their family. And this is what I said, Madeleine McCann situation. Parents are compromised because had the truth come out, one, if not both, will go to prison. Because are you going to spill the beans on your partner? Of course, it's a heinous situation. Let's not get that wrong. There's another kid involved. That's the conflict. What do? Do you give up the wife, or do you give up the in both cases, actually, do you give up the mother? So the husbands are compromised. And for a very, from the beginning until just as I was about to record this, and this is the reason why I'm recording it, is because I discovered the final number for me that convinced me that we're on the right track here. And that is the 2911-2 is where we find the husband is compromised. And he is compromised because of 9, a murder. And this is what and we'll get into the technicalities of if it was an accident, murder, mistake, medical emergency. But I'm just saying, what I'm seeing here in the numbers, I'm getting murder. A lot of 9s around. We just need to be very careful with that, but doesn't look good. And of course, I did see, I did read through the Wikipedia as well, and I believe the current situation, the mom had been accused of some after the facts type stuff. But I can definitely tell you, for me, on September the 13th, now we need to qualify when this happened. Now, I'm telling you sequence of events, what happened, but I haven't necessarily indicated which day it happened on. Let's just get that clear. I'm giving you the story. Because I believe by September the 12th, we already seen reflections that something is amiss here. That when we get to September the 13th, is that confirmation already of a death, double confirmation of a death, and that 22-4 where it sits there is not a very nice way of disposing of a body, unfortunately. And I would believe that he would have been put in the earth. But that 22-4 is almost like they treated it like a medical procedure. Probably like McCain. They were doctors, weren't they? But they treated the husband and wife treated, in this case, William, the husband and wife treated the removal and disposal of the body like a medical procedure, if you like, in their heads. And that's for me the ultimate reflection. So, which tells me, so let me just finish 11-2. The outcome of September 13, 11-2, a law has been broken based on a murder, 9. Okay. Now, with the 11-2 outcome, that's breaking the law. Now, for me, that the reflection is so hard on that day, it tells me this event happened a little bit earlier than is necessarily reported in my mind. That I believe the day before, September the 11th, September the 11th for me is problematic. And if I need to be really honest, which is one of my core values, the days leading up to this situation don't look good either. There's really some bizarre things going on here in my mind that like I said, the energy around this case, since the minute I started looking at it, there's serious deception and lies and power games going on here. And I would imagine that would put a strain on a couple's marriage if the one had to lie to the other about their child. But in my opinion, for me, the September 12, and let me just confirm quickly. You see, for me, and let me just double confirm now quickly. I'm just going ahead. I'm checking. So what I'm doing is I'm checking William's date of birth to see when this all pings on him directly, right? Now, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say it because I believe this is to be what is where the situation is. So for me, September the 11th is the day. And I would say it would be any time from sunset. So it's not on the chart now. So of course you are going to see the time traveler version. It will already be there. Oh gosh. You'll note September 11 ends on the 27-9. And I put in an arrow next to the 9. And he is a life path 9. And that 27-9 for me is not a good thing here. That tells me something. Respiratory, breathing. His breathing may have been compromised. And what also bothers me, so if we go beyond September the 11th, for at least a full day, which is virtually impossible, as you're about to hear, I don't see William on September the 12th. I do not see William on September the 12th. Now, that's why I say the story that was created about this. Now, I've just been reminded, and I always disclose what I know beforehand, and that is apparently the house is at a cul-de-sac, so it's very quiet, very easy, because very easy to come up with a story. And secondly, I heard that we were only outside for 10 minutes. And it now dawns upon me why that is convenient, because the amount of traffic that must go past that house must be almost zero. So, oh yes, he was outside for 10 minutes and boopa boopa, roar, the tiger roar. You're right. So very convenient, 10 minutes outside in a very quiet neighborhood. Likelihood of being caught out with a lie is slim. That's why I love numerology. You can tell me all sorts of stories. This energy around this case is disgusting. Disgusting. But numbers don't lie, as one of my viewers said the other day. And you're right, numbers don't lie. I would say, I wanted to put the time there. Gosh, sorry. Getting carried away in my story here. My alleged story. So what I wanted to put here, I wanted to put the time, so we'll say 1800 for argument's sake, to midnight. Is where I say, or I believe, sorry, let me just say, don't get cocky, young man. All right, let's see. I would say September the 11th between 6 p.m. and depending, so September in Australia what is that? So the sun goes down fairly late, not as late as if it was December, January. So, but let's just say sunset to midnight. Let's not complicate it. Sunset to midnight is when Mr. William met his demise, unfortunately. And all this time that I've been speaking, that 9 has remained as I originally typed it. I'm now making it purple, bold, so it matches the purple 9 at the top that I did earlier. I did receive an angel message. That's just been reminded to me. Because as heinous as this crime is, where a young child of age of 3 has come to an end at the hands of his caregiver and caregivers, ultimately, is that he was only meant to have this bit of time on this plane. And he had completed his life cycle that he needed to complete. And we can take some solace in that such a heinous crime will have an impact on us, on society. When children are murdered by their caregivers, like Madeleine, she's just pointing me out again, yeah. That the caregivers who are entrusted to look after, and foster parents, I might add. So this would also say how cold they can remain in the situation. Had it been their biological kid, right? I don't think they would have had the same reaction. But because ultimately the child wasn't theirs, biologically that is, it's easy just to dismiss it and chuck it under the carpet and hide the facts, fake stories, nonsense. All right. I believe that is it. Unfortunately, I do believe William died at the hands of his caregivers. And would have been the evening of their arrival, September the 11th. And the husband was certainly compromised and had to go with it. 14-5, 14-5, lies, 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 bullshit on top of bullshit. Because there was an outburst by a woman. All right. Such terrible situations for young kids, man. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what your thoughts are, what your comments are, and please stay safe and stay alert. I'll see you in the next one.